Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do a beautiful birch forest painting. It should be a lot of fun. Of course, if you're enjoying these and you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future painting videos. All right, let's get started. We'll start off today with our 2-inch brush and a little bit of blue and white. And of course, as you can see, I've got my sketch, which is a little bit more complicated than normal, just because I wanted to make sure I got the trees kind of where I wanted them. I ended up, good thing I did, because I had one tree in the background. See that guy? That one was behind that tree, and then I moved it over here, and I thought, well, let's move it over here. So I'll probably end up getting rid of that one. So that's why you sketch with your filbert brush and keep it very dry. And now I put a little clear gel and white over the sky area. Now I've got my blue, and away we go. It's a lot of stuff to cover there in the beginning, but a little bit of prep work in the beginning can save you quite a bit of time later on. I'm gonna let that stop right about there because we're gonna do clouds. One shade, of course, darker in the corner. Now I went ahead and blocked in some of the light areas of the cloud, and of course I put just the quick dark. Now I'm gonna come back here and pop some of these clouds out, and this is really where things get exciting. So grab a slightly darker gray than what I've got going already. And let's see if we can come in here and watch this. Watch this, this is cool. So you come in here and you just scrub like that, maybe a little more blue. And what this is gonna do is kind of give those clouds a little bit of a base so that, this looks kind of foggy and misty. In fact, we may even put more white down there. And then this looks like it's in front. Of course, your clouds, as they go up, should get bigger. Isn't that cool? I don't know, I like that. So I thought I'd point that out, kind of show you how I got there. And of course, if you need more help with clouds, we've got a nice techniques DVD which shows you a bunch of different clouds and kind of helps you through that. Now I've changed my soft blender brush, and I'm going to start right here at the top because I want this to be just a little bit more controlled, a little bit softer maybe, just because I know what's going on with the rest of the landscape. At least I've got an idea. And I think that it'll just benefit from a slightly softer sky. However, I do still want it to be very dramatic, like you see that it is. So I'm just knocking off some of the harder edges while still leaving it nice and bright. We can always accent this with the detail round later, but I would say hold off for that until you get some of the landscape done. Then make a choice. If you guys don't have one of these blender brushes, definitely look into getting one, because if you're trying to make your paintings a little more professional, this is the brush to reach for. Very soft, and it's got a nice bevel to it, so it's very easy to use. It just feathers that paint right out. You just give it a nice light touch, and I still see texture in there. It looks like a nice oil painting, which is, of course, what we're painting with today, oils. Probably should have mentioned that since we've been bouncing back and forth between acrylics and oils. Now I've mixed up several greens. I'm going from a light green that has blue in it, because I mixed right over the same pile, and I'm scooting all the way down to a dark green. I'm going to start here in the light green though. And I don't know, we can put the paint really anywhere. I'm looking around, maybe right here. We start anywhere really. Doesn't make any difference. Here we go. Let's go ahead and just drop these little trees in. And this is simple. I'm literally sitting my brush down on the canvas and rubbing it up and down. You can't go wrong with this, except if you do a bunch of repetitive patterns. That would make it go wrong. But if you do that, very easy fix. Just get in there and break it up. Usually add some more to them. That usually fixes it, but I like that. So you look at that color, it's nice and soft. It has a little bit of a blue-gray tone to it. You can add more of that blue-gray. Change it up. Each time you reload, change it up. I'm just looking up there at that sky. Look at this sky. It looks like it's forming. You can almost see the clouds rolling over on themselves. This is the coolest thing. I like that. That was fun. That was not intentional so much. I mean, it kind of was after I started, but I didn't plan the day saying, I'm going to do that much. The clouds were supposed to be more simple, but hey, it just shows if your plans kind of change and if things start working, keep adding to it and let it get better and better. You don't have to say, I gotta go wipe that out because it doesn't look like, the way I planned it. If it looks good, leave it. And that's kind of what I did with that. It started to look kind of like it was moving that way. And so I just kept doing that, and I started adding to it that way. And just changed the painting, and I like it better. Now I'm gonna do something that I almost never do. I am going to connect my background to my foreground with mist. What I'm doing is I'm leaving little bits of negative space. So over here it shows you even better. And it almost looks like land starting to develop. So it's not just another tapped tree line, or smudged tree line right over my background one. It creates a little depth, but better than that, it creates variation, and it starts to link us you know, between the foreground and background areas. I guess it's the background and midground, but the midground and foreground are just basically connected anyways, you know. So if you got that much, then you're good. So I'm going to try to do this. We'll see how it goes. We can always change it, but I just wanted to try it. There, this is the day for trying stuff. What do you think? Maybe right here, just you can do bushes and stuff too. You don't have to just stick. In fact, I wouldn't stick with just evergreens. We're getting a little too close to the foreground. So maybe I'll roll my brush like this to feather in maybe a little line of bushes or something. Leave that mist in and around. So it looks like there's still a little fog settling in here. This is kind of a wet, stormy day. Almost looks like it's raining back there, doesn't it? Nice. Now, as you can see, we've already plopped in a little bit of dark up here. Just some sap, actually mostly just sap green. Little bits of other, I don't know, random paint mixed in, but I'm not much of a, you know, right out of the tube sort of guy. I like to mix things up almost every single time. Just didn't have to do it this time. I don't know, sap green just looked good to me, so there you go. Of course, all of our paints are available on the website if you need them. They're really nice. They're good, high quality, and they work well. Now, let me see right here. I'm going to get a little brighter. Let me show you my palette again here. Got all sorts of these little orange colors going. I leave areas that are blank. Those can be filled in a little brighter. And honestly, a lot of this probably will have to be wiped with a paper towel. And I'm good with that. I just want to get this color established. There. In fact, maybe I'll show you, because it's kind of fun to show you different things. And I'm going to show you that process. There we go. Okay. Is that messy enough for you? Now, I'm going to take a paper towel, crumple it in my hand. You see all these little bits here that are going to cause us problems? Just wipe them away. And look, the color, the value remains, all that good stuff. Just the only caution I would say is don't overuse your paper towel or it'll leave itself in your painting there. Brush hairs are okay, that's acceptable, but I don't want paper towel shavings in my painting. So change your paper towel before it does that. This one's just now starting to do it, so I'll stop using it. There, I've just spent the last 2 minutes kind of texturizing the grass, actually with the 3/4 brush, which is an interesting choice, isn't it? I just think that it'll give me a different look for at least kind of, I don't know, this isn't the underpainting necessarily. That's what we did with the paper towel. I don't know what you would call this. Maybe a rough second coat. I don't know. We're gonna have to come back and paint over this. That's for sure. We don't want to leave that the way it is. But I just wanted a different brush stroke, a different texture. You know what I mean? Something that felt a little more impressionistic, and then we'll bring the detail out of that. There. Let's leave that. I think this is a good start. Okay, good enough. Set that brush down. Let me grab my palette knife, because I'm going to actually mix up a color. I'm going to mix the color with the palette knife. Sometimes you just get a little bit of more control, and I'm going to mix up a decent bit. So I've got brown, green, a little yellow, and red. Mix those together. Nice. It kind of scoops up all this free paint and throws it all into a pile, and you actually end up, you know, as long as you don't overdo it, end up saving some paint. There we go. I like that kind of a red. See, this is going to feel like autumn. This is sort of the beginnings of autumn, and I like that color right there. That's pretty. A little touch of blue into that would be nice. A little more. There. Good. Okay. And right up here, I'm just going to drop this in. You noticed I accidentally whacked the canvas. That's okay. Cover that right up. We'll go in there anyways. There we go. As we come down, maybe as we come down, we get just a little darker. There, that's it. That's it. I like this. This is looking good. Adding a little more black to that paint. So this gives us a reason for the reason for the grass being kind of lit the way that it is. In fact, I might even go further with it. See that? Just touch in. Use it to shade even more. And lots of this there, lots of that. Kind of can be bushes or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, honestly. Now before we go too far, let's go with the umber and black. And let's right about, what did we say? I kind of lost my sketch. There's my big tree. So I'm saying right about here. I'm just gonna plop in a mid-ground tree. This one won't be a birch tree though. We've got 3 different trees in this painting. We have some sort of a deciduous tree that's kind of, I don't know, I have no idea what variety, it doesn't matter. And that one, we're going to kind of keep with the gold tones, maybe a little more in the reds and stuff like that, and the rusts. And then we'll go with bright, vivid yellows and oranges for our birch trees, which we haven't even tackled yet. It's a kind of a painting about birch trees, with them kind of as the subject of the forest. And we haven't even painted a birch tree yet. We don't have one in. That's okay, though. There. We may or may not choose to stick a small house, kind of tuck a small house back in there. That's on my mind. We may or may not do that. Now with some green and black, a little touch of blue is okay too. On the filbert brush, I'm thinking right here. Let's go ahead and just drop in a tree. We're coming forward here into the foreground areas, which is good. I think that trail stopped somewhere kind of right in this area. And there's many, many, many different ways to paint an evergreen. Lots of them are really, really good. Today I'm just choosing to kind of touch in with my filbert and whoosh around, because the evergreen is just, let's face it, it's just not the feature. This is all background stuff. Wait till we get the birch trees in. There. You can tap a little on the outside edge to get some sharper leaves, needles, whatever, you know what I mean. There. There. Let's make it a little bigger though. I like the idea of it. Let's make it a little bigger. This is good. You see, I don't even know what that is. I just slammed it in really quick. I think that was even with the 1-inch brush, and that's why it looks so fuzzy. It's just background material in case some of that shows through, which it very well may. Good negative space. Watch your negative space. There. Now I've mixed up a nice purple gray color and I'm pulling it right through, I'm pulling the filbert brush right through the paint. Not pulling the paint through anything, that would be a little hard. Okay, so, oh boy, here we go. The reason I mixed up the color the way I did, kind of that gray purple, is because, watch this, I'm anticipating it mixing, and of course you start at the top and you work down. Not so much because that's the right way to, oh look at that, I lifted my paintbrush off and I get green. Not so much because that's, you know, the right way to do it, more just because this painting needs it to be done that way, because you don't want to drag the green up into the sky. All right, that's good. You can cut these off at any place, so just get them in and then cut them off later. Maybe a little guy right back in through here. Nice. And then I'm just keep reloading. You may need to mix up your paint again if it gets too much green in it. These evergreens should be, for the most part, kind of behind. So here we go, here's one. Watch this, see? Push those evergreens back. Like I said, those are a backdrop. Those are not the main feature of this painting. Don't really want those to intersect too much, so I'll go like that. I was thinking about crossing. I didn't really want them crossing too much. Maybe right here. I'm trying to think here. What do we want to do? Oh well, I don't know. Maybe another limb. There's a little intersection, but not crazy. That did it. Nice. So let's leave that, and we'll highlight. You may need to wipe these with a paper towel on your finger. That's okay. You may want to do that. Now, right here, just to the left of that one, I'm thinking we do something that goes off the top. Again, that's just a bit thicker. That stops. Oh, by the way, this is kind of a rain puddle. In my mind, there's a storm, and it's already past us. It's raining down there somewhere. We'll definitely need to wipe these with a paper towel. There we go. Nice. And then repeat this over here as well. These trees are going to be significantly larger. Kind of figure out where you want them. Just to the left of that. There we go. And drop them in. Now, as you can see, I placed just a little bit of color on some of these trees, kind of as a mid-tone. So we got our dark that we put in, and now our mid-tone. Now I'm going to try to just tap on a little bit of highlight. I've got my detail round, of course, and this is a nice soft brush. And so it layers paint very well without mixing too much. And you know what? I'm good if it mixes a little on this tree. Don't go too vibrant here. Keep it a little bit more pale, because we're gonna do more vibrant yellow to the birch trees, and it'll give it a nice little contrast. I guess there's some birch trees tucked in there, but most of this is something else. But I still want it to feel like maybe just the beginning of autumn here. There, that looks good. Now I'm carefully wiping away some of the paint from around the trees here. Picked up a little, not a bunch. We were pretty good about putting on a sparing amount of paint. We didn't put a terrible amount on there. So anyways, especially because I was really worried about these dark areas. I think up here won't be as big of a deal. We may wipe the sky. We'll figure that out later. Okay, anyway, here we go. A very bright, vivid yellow with just a speck of red in order to hopefully deter the green. That's still going to want to happen. But look, because we wiped this area off, we can layer this on with, mixing less than it otherwise would. I'm going to glop it on a little thicker as well. You see, I want this almost a jarring, yikes. Look at that yellow color. Look to this whole area. It's getting kind of mixy up there. Don't want that. There we go, a little more paint. If it gets to be kind of muddy, put on more paint. What was I talking about? Oh, I wanted it to be like almost jarring, because what that'll do is it'll brighten up the foreground. I think it'll add a lot of visual interest. We actually may need to brighten this tree just for the sake of balance. We'll throw some of these bright yellow leaves over on the other side as well. Actually, holding this brush upside down works well because you can glop it on a little thicker. That looks good to me. Look at that. There's virtually no white in this mix at all. Because I want it to be vivid. And white will make your colors more pastel. There we go. And just wipe as you go. If there's spots that need help, wipe them off. Don't worry about it. Don't get frustrated. And then we'll come back, highlight the same way. It won't need a lot of highlight. And call it good. Now I'm going to put on just a little more highlight here. Actually, the only highlight here to the right-hand side. I did this already on the left. So you see I just repeated what I did on the left, on the right with the darker tones. And now I'm coming back with a lot of paint. Like I scooped this paint. Look how thick it is on that brush. There's more paint than brush there, it seems. And that's the only way you're going to get it to stick over this much paint without completely destroying the background, which you could do, wipe it totally off and you still have tones, but you wouldn't have, like, say that tree. I couldn't wipe that. I wiped it a little, you wipe it a little, but not, the more you wipe it, the fuzzier it gets. So I guess that's all I'm trying to say. Don't wipe it too much. Instead, just glop it on. This is oil paint. You may as well put texture in your oil paint. That's what one of the exciting bits about oil paint. You can put texture in, so just go for it. It's totally fine. Okay, let's just jump right back up here. This one's going to be more sparse. Oh, and this one over here is extremely sparse. We'll put limbs on it, but very sparse. So I'm going to do a sparse one over here as well. Some are more full than others. The reason? I like my sky. That's the reason. I don't want to cover it up, so I'm saving the good parts of the sky. Kind of cover up the parts that don't matter as much. Let's go ahead and work on these birch trees, at least the highlight on them. You see, I put a little more color down. We originally just blocked them in with gray. That was fine, but I wanted to add a little more color to the base tone, so I did. It's pretty simple. You want to do something, get up here and just do it. And don't worry about it. Certainly trust yourself to do stuff like this. You think, well, it probably does need a little more color. You throw it in. Don't think you're locked in just because you didn't put it in earlier. Yeah, there we go. See, I'm drifting just a couple of these little limbs right over all this mess. It mixes a little. So what? It just creates variation, doesn't it? Look at that. Not bad. Not bad at all. And on this side, right here. Right over all that mess. Good. They can plug into the tree wherever. Don't just have them plugging in on the sides. Now, something that could be kind of interesting here. Actually, something that we have to do. I'm gonna change that. Something that we have to do is put in a nice dark base, because these trees do have like black areas on their bark. So we got to do that on here, right at the base. And if you're not totally sure, how birch trees look, you should look at a couple photos of them, and get a feel for what the real thing looks like. And then go paint something that looks correct. That way, you kind of have a roadmap. You don't want to just jump out here and say, well, I hope this looks like a birch tree. You could actually be, further off than you would think. So look at your pictures. I know it'll help you out. Watch this a little bit there. Pull down. See, this is very birch tree-like. Don't just throw it in at random. Well, okay, it's a little random. But don't just throw them everywhere. Kind of have a purpose, Space them nicely. I'm just saying, put some thought into it, which I'm sure you do anyway. You probably put more thought into it than I do, but that's okay. I'll just finish up doing these over and over again until all of the birch trees are complete. Now, another detail that's really useful to have, especially on this close-up one, is a nice blue line right down the left-hand side. This is a reflected light, and we can do this because this is being lit by blue sky, this back. So right here's the sun, and here's where it's being lit by the blue sky. Very pretty. And although there are clouds, remember that storm is long past, so there is blue sky above. There we go, this is fun. Love doing detail work like this, because it really brings your painting to the next level. It really does. I warmed up all these trees before doing this. They just were cold. Remember, we dropped them into that gray. They were just very cold, so I'm warming them up. And there we go, it's just pretty. I'm enjoying this. Then we'll put our little black dots in, just like we did over there. Pretty fun. Now all we have to do really is highlight our landscape area. The trees are done, and you see I added a couple bushes and just started putting some more color here, but now I'm highlighting our path, which is definitely on the list of things to do. Nice, keep it broken. There's not a lot of paint down here, so it's actually fairly easy to get a nice highlight, so that's a bonus. You can wipe this area down if you need to. Actually more, remember we did wipe it down already. So there you go. That's really pretty. Okay, stop right there because I'm going to make it darker as we go that way, but let's also get a little more light. Actually, let me throw some white into that. Let's get some light out here. Yes, right there, stick it on. That's good. And this is kind of how we're going to go around finishing up our landscape. And here's how you know how bright to make it. When it feels like it fits with the rest of these trees here that we made really bright, then you know you're done. There's an easy trick for you. Nice, and down here, a little shot of light maybe sneaking through some of this. There, bigger strokes as you come forward. Now let's add just a little bit of extra detail here using my favorite grass technique, just slamming it down. You guys have probably seen this before. I do it almost every time I paint close-up grass. Just slam it right down. And then you just allow it, to get darker, even adding darker colors. It's all good stuff. It really is my favorite. I don't even think anything else comes close as far as painting grass. This is like super fun, and it's easy, and it gives you, like, in my opinion, like the coolest effect for close-up grass. And then of course we'll get our liner brush out, and we will put some stuff over this, but this at least gets us most of it done. Too much fun. Absolutely fun. And smaller strokes. It works even with smaller strokes. Do smaller strokes as you go back. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching.